If your heart has been heavy lately, this prayer for peace, joy, and favor in 2026 is meant for you. Don't scroll, please don't scroll, listen to this carefully. Because if you are hearing these words right now, this message is for you, and your heart needs this exact moment more than you realize, even if you can't explain why yet. It's Wednesday, January 14th, 2026, and nothing about this encounter is random, accidental, or coincidental. Something unseen paused your thumb, something greater than timing, algorithms, or chance pulled you here, because heaven itself needed your attention right now. Take a slow breath and let it out, because God already knows what you've been carrying in silence. You've been strong for so long, stronger than people realize, showing up, smiling, functioning, handling responsibilities, while quietly feeling tired deep in your soul. There have been nights where you stared at the ceiling asking questions you never said out loud, mornings where your body moved but your heart felt heavy, and moments where you wondered if peace would ever feel natural again instead of something you had to fight for. And listen closely, nothing about that makes you weak. It makes you human. And it makes you exactly the kind of person God draws close to. The delays you've faced, the doors that closed without explanation, the relationships that faded even though you tried your best to hold them together, those were not signs of rejection, failure, or abandonment. Those were signs of protection. God was quietly rearranging things behind the scenes, removing what looked right but wasn't aligned, clearing space for peace you couldn't receive while chaos still had access to your life. You didn't lose time, you gained wisdom. You didn't fall behind, you were being prepared. And today marks a shift. Something changes in the atmosphere around you. The heaviness you've been feeling doesn't disappear instantly, but it loosens. The anxiety doesn't control you the way it used to. The joy you thought you lost begins to return in small, gentle waves, not loud or overwhelming, but steady and real. If you've been seeing repeating numbers lately, 11 when you glance at the clock, 222 when you least expect it, 444 showing up again and again, this is your confirmation. These are not coincidences. They are signals, reminders that you are being guided, watched over, and gently redirected toward alignment. Your spiritual awakening hasn't been dramatic. It's been quiet, subtle, happening in moments of reflection, exhaustion, and honesty with yourself. You're starting to see clearly now. What drains you, what nourishes you, what you can no longer tolerate, and what you truly deserve. And God's favor, listen to this carefully, is not something you have to beg for today. It's something already moving toward you. Favor looks like conversations shifting in your favor when you least expect it. Favor looks like opportunities opening where you assumed nothing would work out. Favor looks like peace entering rooms that used to trigger anxiety. Favor looks like emotional safety, financial provision, clarity, and confidence returning step by step. And for the one quietly wondering about love, connection, and companionship, yes, this message includes you too. The soulmate energy you've been sensing, the feeling that someone aligned with your spirit exists. Even if you haven't met them yet, is real. God has been healing you first, strengthening your discernment, teaching you the difference between attention and intention, between chemistry and compatibility. That's why certain relationships didn't last. They couldn't go where you're going. The next connection won't come with confusion, anxiety, or emotional games. It will come with calm, with safety, with peace. You won't have to overthink their actions or decode their silence. You'll feel seen, chosen, and secure. And when that moment arrives, you'll understand why you had to walk alone for a season. Right now, receive this prayer. God, I ask that your peace cover this listener today in a way that feels undeniable. Let anxiety loosen its grip on their chest. Let overthinking quiet down. Let their nervous system rest. Replace fear with trust, exhaustion with renewal, and heaviness with hope. Open doors of favor that no one can shut, align the right people at the right time, and gently remove anything that disrupts their peace. Let today be the day they finally exhale without guilt. Let today be the day joy feels safe again. Remind them that they are not forgotten, not overlooked, not behind, and not alone. And before this message ends, there is one more thing your spirit needs to hear. Something unexpected is already in motion. A message, a breakthrough, a realization, a shift in circumstances that will confirm everything you've been feeling lately. Stay open today. Pay attention. Trust the nudges. And when it happens, you'll remember this moment. You'll remember that peace, joy, and God's favor didn't come someday. They met you today, exactly when you needed them most. And now listen even more closely, because this is where the message deepens and your spirit begins to recognize something familiar, something it's been waiting to hear for a long time. There is a reason you've felt more sensitive lately, more aware, more emotional than usual. And it's not because you're breaking down, it's because you're breaking open. God has been softening your heart on purpose, peeling away layers you built just to survive, because the season you're entering requires honesty, vulnerability, and trust instead of armor. You didn't go through everything you endured just to remain guarded forever. You went through it to gain wisdom without losing tenderness, strength without losing compassion, faith without losing feeling. And today, Wednesday, January 14th, 2026, marks a quiet but powerful turning point. You may not hear thunder or see dramatic signs, but something inside you is already shifting. The way you respond to stress is changing. The way you view your past is changing. Even the way you speak to yourself is beginning to soften. That's healing. That's alignment. That's God restoring parts of you that were tired of being strong all the time. You've been learning that peace doesn't come from controlling everything, and joy doesn't come from forcing outcomes. It comes from surrendering what you can't carry alone. And if you've been feeling disconnected from people lately, pulling back, choosing solitude over noise, that wasn't isolation, it was preparation. God has been recalibrating your energy, protecting you from conversations that drain you, environments that confuse you, and attachments that no longer match your frequency. You're stepping into a season where discernment matters more than approval, where emotional safety matters more than attention, and where alignment matters more than familiarity. This is why certain people stopped reaching out, why invitations slowed down, why things felt quiet. It was never emptiness, it was incubation. Something new has been forming in the silence. And now it's almost ready. If you've been questioning your purpose, wondering if what you do truly matters, feeling like your efforts go unseen, hear this clearly: you are more impactful than you realize. Your presence alone shifts rooms. Your words carry weight. Your empathy heals people you'll never know helped because you showed up authentically. God didn't give you your sensitivity by accident. He trusted you with it because you're strong enough to carry light without becoming hardened by darkness. And there's favor resting on you now. Not loud favor, not flashy favor, but undeniable favor. Favor that looks like being in the right place at the right time. Favor that looks like protection from things you don't even know were meant to harm you. Favor that looks like peace guarding your heart even when life remains uncertain. And yes, love is still part of this story. For the one who has loved deeply, been disappointed quietly, and healed slowly. Your heart is not too much, and your standards are not too high. God has been teaching you patience not to punish you, but to protect you. The connection coming into your life won't require you to shrink, chase, or question your worth. It will feel natural. steady, mutual. You'll recognize it not by intensity, but by peace. Conversations will flow. Silence won't feel threatening. You won't have to perform to be chosen. And when that alignment happens, you'll realize why loneliness had to teach you self-respect, why waiting had to teach you self-love, and why timing had to teach you trust. So right now, receive this continuation of the prayer. God, steady their heart today. Anchor their mind in truth. Let emotional wounds lose their power. Restore confidence where doubt has lingered. Bring clarity where confusion once lived. Let them feel guided, supported, and held even in moments they don't have answers. Align their steps, their decisions, their conversations, and their connections with your will. Remove what looks good but isn't right, and release what is right even if it arrives unexpectedly. Let today carry a sense of quiet reassurance, a feeling they can't explain but can't deny. And before this message fades, hear this final truth. Something you've been praying about privately, something you stopped talking about because you didn't want to be disappointed again, is closer than you think. You won't have to force it. You won't have to chase it. It will arrive gently, confirming that every delay had a purpose and every tear had meaning. Stay open. Stay present. Stay trusting. Because peace, joy, and God's favor aren't just surrounding you, they're walking with you into what's next. And as you remain here, listening, breathing, allowing these words to settle into your spirit, something even deeper is happening, something subtle but unmistakable. Because this is the moment where clarity begins to replace confusion, where trust starts to feel safer than fear, and where your heart finally understands that it hasn't been wandering aimlessly, it's been led. You didn't stumble into this season by accident. Every step, even the painful ones, carried you closer to alignment. Think back for a moment to the person you were a year ago, or even a few months ago. How much you've changed, how much you've grown, how many things you no longer beg for, tolerate, or chase. That's not loss, that's elevation. God has been upgrading your spirit quietly, teaching you how to let go without bitterness, how to forgive without reopening wounds, how to move forward without dragging the past behind you. And yes, there were moments you felt invisible, moments you wondered if your prayers were reaching heaven at all, moments where silence felt like absence. But silence was never abandonment. It was instruction. It was God teaching you how to hear Him without noise, how to trust Him without signs, how to walk by faith instead of certainty. And now, something within you is awakening fully. You're beginning to sense when something is aligned and when it's not. Your intuition feels sharper. Your tolerance for chaos feels lower. Your desire for peace feels non-negotiable. That's not you becoming distant, it's you becoming discerning. You are no longer meant to survive life. You are meant to experience it fully, intentionally, and peacefully. If you've been feeling an inner pull to simplify, to declutter emotionally, to release habits, patterns, or even identities that once felt familiar, that pull is divine. God is inviting you into a lighter way of living, one where you don't carry what was never yours to hold. And hear this clearly, because your heart needs reassurance right now. You are not behind. You are not running out of time. You have not missed your moment. The timeline you're on is precise, intentional, and protected. Heaven is not rushed, and neither is your destiny. What's meant for you will arrive when you're ready to receive it without fear, without self-doubt, without shrinking. And this includes your purpose. You've underestimated the impact of simply being you, your voice, your compassion, your resilience, your ability to feel deeply in a world that numbs itself. God doesn't waste experiences. The pain you endured sharpened your empathy. The waiting refined your patience. The heartbreak strengthened your boundaries. And now those very things position you to help, inspire, and uplift others in ways you don't even see yet. And love, listen carefully, love is evolving for you. You are no longer attracted to potential without consistency, to words without action, to intensity without stability. Your soul craves safety now, mutual effort, emotional maturity. The next connection you form will not feel like a roller coaster, it will feel like home. And when that person enters your life, whether soon or gradually, you will notice how calm you feel around them, how your nervous system relaxes, how your laughter sounds lighter, how your prayers become gratitude instead of requests. That's alignment. That's God answering you in a way that protects your peace. So receive this prayer as it continues. God, seal what you have begun in this listener. Guard their heart from unnecessary worry. Guard their mind from replaying old stories that no longer define them. Strengthen their confidence in quiet ways. Lead them gently but firmly toward what is meant for them. Let today be filled with small confirmations, unexpected kindness, peaceful moments, intuitive nudges, divine timing that feels too precise to ignore. Let them feel supported even when they walk alone, hopeful even when outcomes remain unseen. And now, before you move on with your day, pause for just a second longer, because this is important. Something is aligning faster than you expect. A realization, a message, an opportunity, or a shift in perspective that will arrive when you're least prepared but most ready. Don't dismiss it. Don't overthink it. Receive it. Because the season you're stepping into doesn't require striving. It requires trust. Peace is no longer a distant promise. Joy is no longer conditional. And God's favor is no longer something you wonder about. It's something you're beginning to walk in, quietly, confidently, and fully aware that this chapter is not ending in survival, but beginning in alignment. And now, as these words continue to wash over you, this is the moment where everything you've been feeling but couldn't explain finally finds language, because something sacred happens when truth meets readiness, and your spirit is ready. You didn't arrive at this point accidentally. You were led here through experiences that shaped you, humbled you, stretched you, and refined you in ways no one else fully understands. There were moments you questioned yourself, moments you wondered if you were asking for too much, moments you felt guilty for wanting peace so badly. But hear this clearly and let it settle deep inside you. Peace is not too much to ask for, joy is not unrealistic, and God's favor is not reserved for other people. It is for you. Always has been. The reason life felt heavy for so long wasn't because you were weak. It was because you were carrying things meant to be released. You carried expectations that weren't yours, responsibilities you never volunteered for, emotional weight that belonged to people who didn't know how to heal themselves. And God allowed that season not to break you, but to teach you discernment, to show you where your compassion needed boundaries and where your loyalty needed wisdom. That's why today feels different. That's why something inside you feels calmer even though not everything around you has changed yet. That calm is spiritual authority returning. That calm is trust replacing fear. That calm is you remembering who you are beneath survival mode. And listen closely, your future is not built on panic, pressure, or proving yourself. It's built on alignment. You no longer have to force doors, chase validation, or overextend yourself to feel worthy. What is meant for you will recognize you without exhaustion. And if you've been feeling a strong urge lately to slow down, to say no more often, to protect your energy without explaining yourself, that urge is divine guidance. God is teaching you how to live from overflow instead of depletion. He is showing you that rest is not laziness, boundaries are not selfishness, and solitude is not loneliness, it's preparation. And yes, the signs you've been noticing are real. The numbers, the recurring thoughts, the sudden memories, the dreams that feel symbolic. These are confirmations, gentle reminders that you are in sync with something greater than logic. Heaven has been whispering to you, not to overwhelm you, but to reassure you that you are not wandering blindly. Every delay redirected you. Every disappointment refined you. Every ending made room. And now favor is finding you in quiet ways. Favor looks like peace in situations that once triggered anxiety. Favor looks like clarity replacing confusion. Favor looks like opportunities aligning without struggle. Favor looks like being protected from things you once begged for. And for the ones still healing from emotional wounds, especially wounds tied to love, this part is important. You are not broken because you love deeply. You are not foolish because you hope sincerely. You are not weak because you gave chances. Those experiences did not diminish you. They revealed your capacity. But now, your heart has matured. You no longer confuse intensity with intimacy or attention with commitment. You value consistency, safety, and truth. And the connection meant for you will meet you at that level. It will not trigger your insecurities. It will calm them. It will not make you question your worth. It will affirm it. And when it comes, you'll realize why the timing had to be precise. Why you had to become this version of yourself first. So receive this final prayer as it seals everything that has been spoken. God, let your peace settle deeply into this listener's spirit today. Let it anchor them when emotions rise. Let it guide their decisions. Let it guard their heart from returning to places you already freed them from. Fill their days with gentle joy, not dependent on circumstances but rooted in trust. Open doors of favor that align with their highest good, and close doors that would cost them their peace. Surround them with people who see them, respect them, and honor their growth. Lead them clearly, protect them fiercely, and remind them often that they are never alone. And now, before this message ends, hear this with absolute certainty. This chapter of your life is not about surviving anymore. It's about living with intention, loving with wisdom, and trusting without fear. What's ahead of you carries more peace than what's behind you. What's coming will not require you to abandon yourself. And when you look back on this season, you'll realize this was the moment everything quietly shifted. Stay open today. Stay grounded. Stay gentle with yourself. Because peace, joy, and God's favor are no longer distant promises. They are active companions walking with you into everything that comes next. And now, as you remain here a little longer, this is the part where something inside you finally settles, because your spirit recognizes that you are no longer standing at the edge of change, you are already stepping into it. There is a calm beginning to replace the urgency you once felt, a confidence rising that doesn't need noise or validation, and that is how you know this season is real. You didn't imagine the shift. You didn't create it through wishful thinking. It arrived because you did the inner work when no one was watching, because you chose healing over bitterness, growth over comfort, and faith over fear even when you didn't feel brave. There were days you kept going purely on hope, days when obedience felt harder than rebellion, days when silence was the only answer you received. But every one of those days built spiritual strength you'll now begin to rely on. God has been watching how you handle disappointment, how you respond when things don't go your way, how you treat people who couldn't give you what you deserved, and He has been shaping your character for what's next. This next season doesn't require you to be perfect. It requires you to be grounded. You're learning how to pause instead of react, how to listen instead of explain, how to trust instead of control. That's maturity. That's wisdom. That's favor growing roots instead of flashing briefly. And if you've been feeling less interested in proving yourself, less drawn to chaos, less tolerant of emotional games, that's not boredom. it's alignment. Your soul is no longer entertained by what once distracted it. You crave depth now. Truth, peace, meaning, and heaven responds quickly to hearts like that. Opportunities will begin to appear that don't drain you. Conversations will feel purposeful instead of performative. Doors will open without resistance, and you'll know they're meant for you because you won't have to abandon yourself to walk through them. And listen carefully. Some of the blessings coming into your life won't look the way you imagined. They'll arrive quietly, gently, without announcement, but they will last. God is replacing urgency with stability, intensity with consistency, and confusion with clarity. This includes finances, purpose, emotional security, and direction. You're being positioned for sustainability, not just success. And for the ones still carrying old emotional weight, regret, guilt, or what if questions, this is your release point. You are not meant to keep replaying chapters that already taught you what you needed to learn. Forgiveness is not excusing what hurt you, it's freeing yourself from carrying it forward. And God is helping you do that now, little by little, breath by breath. You may notice memories losing their emotional charge, triggers losing their power, and peace entering places that once felt raw. That's healing happening in real time. And love, yes, love continues to evolve for you. You are no longer drawn to intensity that burns fast and fades. You value presence, reliability, and emotional honesty. The person meant to walk with you won't compete with your peace. They'll protect it. They won't rush you or confuse you. They'll meet you where you are and grow with you. And until that connection fully manifests, God is becoming your anchor, reminding you that being alone is not the same as being lonely when you are deeply aligned. So receive this prayer as it moves gently through you. God, steady their steps. Anchor their thoughts in truth. Let them trust the process even when outcomes aren't immediate. Restore joy in simple moments. Multiply peace in unexpected ways. Remove lingering doubt and replace it with quiet assurance. Align their days with purpose, their nights with rest, and their future with hope. Let favor surround them like a shield, not to elevate ego, but to protect their heart. And now, before this part ends, know this: something you've been preparing for internally is about to meet you externally. You won't have to announce it. You won't have to convince anyone. The fruit will speak for itself. Stay patient. Stay present. Stay faithful. Because the version of you that emerges from this season is not anxious, not rushed, not afraid, but grounded, guided, and deeply at peace, walking confidently into what has always been meant for you. And now, as you reach this final part, stay with me just a little longer, because this is not an ending, it is a sealing, a quiet spiritual conclusion where everything spoken before settles into your spirit and becomes real in a way words alone cannot explain. This is the moment where your heart stops bracing for impact and starts trusting again, where your mind loosens its grip on fear and allows peace to take its place. You've walked through seasons where you felt unseen, unheard, and uncertain, yet here you are, still standing, still believing, still open enough to receive. That alone tells a powerful story. God has been closer than you realize through every chapter, even the ones you wish you could erase. Nothing you endured was meaningless. Every delay refined your patience. Every disappointment sharpened your discernment. Every loss redirected you towards something safer, deeper, and more aligned. And today, Wednesday, January 14th, 2026, marks a spiritual exhale. You are allowed to rest now, not because everything is perfect, but because you no longer need to fight for control. You've learned that peace comes from trust, not certainty, and joy grows when you stop forcing outcomes and start allowing alignment. The anxiety that once kept you awake at night no longer has the same authority over you. The questions that once echoed endlessly in your mind are beginning to quiet. You may not have every answer yet, but you have something stronger: assurance. A knowing deep in your soul that you are guided, protected, and held. If you've felt emotionally lighter lately, even without obvious reasons, that's confirmation. God has been lifting burdens you didn't even realize you were still carrying. He's been healing wounds beneath the surface, restoring confidence where doubt once lived, and rebuilding trust where disappointment tried to settle permanently. You're no longer the person who begs for clarity or chases validation. You're becoming someone who attracts what is meant through calm presence and quiet confidence. And listen closely, this version of you is exactly who your future requires. The days ahead are not meant to be survived, they are meant to be lived with intention. You will begin to notice how situations resolve themselves without struggle, how conversations feel easier, how decisions come with less resistance. Favor is working in subtle but undeniable ways. It's protecting you from unnecessary stress. It's aligning you with people who respect your growth. It's opening doors that match your energy instead of draining it. And love is no longer something you fear losing or chase desperately. You've learned that real love doesn't confuse, exhaust, or destabilize. It supports. It steadies. It meets you in truth. Whether love arrives through companionship, friendship, purpose, or deeper self-connection, it will feel safe. And when the right person walks into your life, you won't have to shrink or perform. You'll be received as you are. Until then, God is filling the spaces you once tried to fill with distractions, reminding you that wholeness was never found outside of yourself. So receive this final prayer as it gently closes this chapter. God, thank you for bringing this listener through every season that tried to harden them but instead made them wiser. Thank you for restoring peace where anxiety once lived, hope where discouragement lingered, and joy where heaviness tried to stay. Guard their heart as they move forward. Guide their steps with clarity. Protect their peace fiercely. Align their future with purpose, love, and sustainability. Let them walk confidently, not rushed, not afraid, not doubtful, but secure. Let them trust your timing, your plan, and your presence. And now, as this message ends, let them carry one final truth with them into the rest of their day and beyond. Nothing meant for them will miss them. Nothing aligned with their destiny will pass them by. What is theirs will arrive at the right moment, in the right form, without chaos or fear. Stay open. Stay grounded. Stay faithful. Because this is not the end of your story. It is the beginning of a chapter written with peace, guided by wisdom, and covered in God's favor. Amen. If this prayer blessed you today, please subscribe and stay connected for daily prayers. God bless you.